Hey y'all, so I wanted to kind of weigh in on the Henry and Monique situation, and I pray, please, Holy Spirit, allow me to add something constructive to the conversation, and to be a blessing to anybody who is listening, because uh, asking it will be given to you. In Jesus' name and for his sake, amen. Um, So Dr. Miles Monroe says that if you add a Bible verse with your prayer, then it'll hit faster. So, or because it's the word of God and the angels are waiting to perform his word. So um a couple of things with the Henry and Monique situation. So initially when she said that he had a dream about her and this is the way he knew that she was his wife, I have heard that before, but here's the thing. For me personally, when I have had dreams about somebody, it was definitely to warn me about them. That's number one. Number two, to say like, oh, God told me in a dream that you are supposed to be my spouse, doesn't that kind of take away a little bit of the free will? Because it's like, okay, so God is wearing Petunia. So it's like, okay, so God's telling you in a dream that I'm supposed to be your spouse, and I believe that you are a prophetic person. Well, do you have a choice really into being that person's spouse, right? So I don't necessarily know if God would like do it that way. You know what I'm saying? And then even if he did do it that way, a discerning person wouldn't lead with that. If God did happen to put your spouse in a dream and you saw that person, you don't have to say to that person, "Oh, hey, God said that, I had a dream that God said we should be together." No, because you would want to approach the person, get to know the person, come at them from just like a regular angle. And then when you got, but this is a God fearing person, I believe. Then when you guys get to the point naturally where you are, proposing or whatever, then you might tell them, hey, actually I dreamed about you. You know what I mean? Um, and then also because as soon as you see the person, you want to know, like, is this from God too? Because just because it says like it's not going to say it's your wife. Even if it does, it could be a spirit spouse or whatever, right? So that was number one, my thing about her, a bit about that relationship. Number two, you can't really base your ministry on um like tearing down somebody else's ministry. The funny thing about it is I'm an artist, right? And I don't even want to label myself as a Christian artist, even though I am, because Christians are the most uh critical of other Christians. There's so much going on in the world that you could make deep videos about. But it's like certain people, they just scan people's content in order to like tear them down or point out the flaws. For an example, um but like what kind of ministry is that? You know what I'm saying? Because even though somebody might be wrong or whatever, God, he can use anybody. And he said, like, and sometimes, like, what was that prophet Balaam? He wasn't righteous, right? But because he was there and he had the ability, right, to hear God, this is how he was used. So you never know who God is going to use to get a message to his people, right? That's A. B is like, okay, so you notice somebody is doing something that you or saying something that you feel like is non-cipher, right? And you tear that person down, right? And so now people are not listening to that person. Now, what are you offering to replace what you took away from the people? Prophet Lovi is an excellent example. Now, you judge somebody by the company they keep, right? So I'm gonna just put that there as far as Prophet Lovi goes, right? Um, but all 9 out of 10 times that I listen to the man, I leave changed. I leave smarter, wiser, and I change an action. You know what I'm saying? I change the way I look at something. I change the way I do things. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of things it bear witness to my soul, honestly. You know what I mean? Is it every single one? Of course not, right? There's gonna be that 10 that's like, yeah, even Dr. Miles Monroe. You know, I wouldn't be where I am today, without, well, that's what God used Dr. Miles Monroe for, right? And there have been a few things that I know aren't true that he said. Well, really two. But I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? So it's like when that girl came out, whoever, any of those girls. Okay, so you coming out now, you riding on his coattails. Oh, he messed up, blase, blase. Okay, now what's next? You don't even got a ministry of your own. You just on that. You just saying, hold on. Hmm, uh, let me see. Uh, what's this? Okay. Um, you don't got no ministry of your own. You not coming with nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because if it was me, and I'm like, yeah, Prophet Lopi, he did this X, Y, and Z. Now that's gonna be my segue to come with something. That's that thing. Oh, you throw me to the wolves, I come out leading the pack. Like you don't got nothing to say. It's just, oh, Prophet Lopi did this. Oh, okay. So what's your page about? You know what I'm saying? Like now you got our attention. Like how you coming? Are you selling something? Like what's the point, right? Um, and then that guy EJ, he was going against him. Now listen, I ain't talking about nobody in a negative way because ain't no weapon for me against me gonna prosper. But it's like when he was going against him, he said a few things that was cool. So I'm like, okay, well maybe he thought to whatever. But it just fell off. Like you know what I'm saying? It's like y'all can't just be saying, oh, this person who is doing God's will because God not gonna be mocked. He don't need y'all to. He don't need y'all. I doubt that God is gonna say to you, oh, tell these people that this person is non-cipher because what the word say, oh, they out there healing people in your name, and then and Jesus said, well, and if they doing it, you know what I'm saying, and it's working, then they with us. You feel what I mean? So it's like we can't judge because nobody know the heart of a man. You know what I'm saying? Besides God. And if somebody is non-cipher, that person gonna say something or do something that's gonna personally convict you, right? So um I say that to say, okay, so Henry and Monique, right? Y'all, this is y'all ministry, right? And I'm not saying nothing against Monique because you just following behind your husband. This is y'all ministry, right? Then y'all, okay. So y'all tearing him down. Okay, so what y'all putting in his place? You know what I'm saying? What y'all putting in his place? You know? Um, because clearly he's doing the work, right? Clearly he's fulfilling a need, right? So it's like your whole ministry is just looking at other people's ministry because Satan is the accuser of the brethren. You know what I'm saying? Like your whole thing. You could like okay, so if I had a thing and it's like, oh, I saw somebody doing something I didn't personally agree on, I could make a video about it if I wanted to, right? But that's not gonna be my whole ministry. Just watchman on the wall, air quotes, right? That's crazy, right? So that's number two. Number three, now she said that it wasn't until she got with him that now demons come in putting their hands over. Okay, he from Africa where they do that at, right? Um, and no disrespect, you know what I'm saying? And by that I'm not coming down on it because the people in Africa they have like a spiritual knowledge that is like I wish I kind of had it. I don't know if I wish I kind of had it, but like for them to have like such a spiritual knowledge, you know what I'm saying? Not a spiritual like me, like I'm just like guessing, not necessarily guessing. I'm studying and it's like cognitive knowledge, right? But they have practical knowledge that you know what I mean? So I'm not coming down on that because it's good knowledge and bad knowledge. So he right from where they came from, right? Not only that, he wasn't even no citizen when he got with her. Not only that, but she was giving money. She supposed, oh, I just had an idea to support somebody in Africa, and he just happened to is y'all both running games, sweetie? Did you see his thing? It just so happened to be his mom, right? And you think he attractive, right? Okay. So where was I at with that? I don't know. I'll come back to that later. But okay, I'll come back to that part later. But then see, we all know them people over there. They trying to. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So now you say now this is when demons coming at you. You losing kids or blase blase. Soon as you get with him, it's the first time in your life. Oh, okay. So what? And then after that is like these continuous demonic attacks that you never had before. You got this man from this country where they know how to do that at. Okay, right? That had a dream that you know what I'm saying, and you just happen to be giving his mother money, right? Okay. You know what I'm saying? Don't play yourself because did you see that man pay it, what a coincidence, right? Okay. So then you don't know, like listen, I wouldn't mess with nobody who don't got their green card. You feel what I'm saying? Because listen, if nigga, if I mean see that's what I'm saying about you don't even want to be no Christian nothing because soon as you know what I'm saying, soon as you be realistic or whatever, now they go on, criticize you. But me personally, if you don't got no green card, I'm not the one giving you the money. I don't care. If you want to marry me and you don't got no green card, guess what? You gonna still have to give me some money for that green card. I ain't gonna listen. Somebody that I'm giving you the money, oh man, you a scammer. You a scammer. If you don't got the money for your own green card, if you don't got the money to hit me off and say if you gotta take my charity, what you gonna do in America? Like what you gonna do being somebody husband? You know what I'm saying? Be careful with somebody who um is down bad and they wanna have a relationship with you. You will come up to them. Because when you really listen, I done been down bad. I done been down bad, right? Like I'm not gonna say down bad. I was never down bad, but I'm saying like I've been on the grind. I've been on the struggle, right? I know what it's like to be walking around with have your whole life on your back, and then they want you to check that at the fucking Dollar General. I mean, pardon me, at the you know what I'm saying. So I know how that is. When you at that point and you trying to you want to come up. That's what I mean to say you ain't really you ain't what somebody got to talk to you about. It's actually disgusting if somebody try to talk to you and it ain't about money or some type of come up. You know what I'm saying? So as a man, that should be disgusting for you to even talk about all that type of stuff and it ain't about money, it ain't about some type of come up, right? All right, B. Um I did notice at first when they came, it was like, oh, this is my husband, this is my wife. I noticed they stopped doing that. And I also noticed that she was getting a lot bigger, a lot bigger. And then I noticed that her hair was like it wasn't looking as professionally done. It wasn't looking like her wig was professional. It began to look like some stuff she'd do herself. You know what I'm saying? You could tell, right? So I noticed that. Uh then I heard that she wasn't working. Let me tell you something, every woman out here, and don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking you because I ain't learned this till I was 40, right? Because when you looking so good, you don't gotta learn it, right? Never depend on a man, sweetie. I ain't had nobody to tell me that. I ain't had nobody to tell me that. You feel what I'm saying? Never do it. Because soon as you dependent on him and he know it, that's when he gonna treat you like trash because he can. I don't know why this came into my mind when we talk about evolutionary psychology. Um, how like the black man really should be staying home and raising the kids evolutionary wise. And because the white man, he was in the ice age, right? So his woman could not go out. You know what I'm saying? Whereas the black man, he in Africa, just like the lion, it's better for him to stay home and protect the home, right? So imagine you in the ice age, right? And then you out there trying to, get wrestling with these saber-toothed lions and tigers, and then you come home to this girl up in the cave. You gonna treat her any type of way. You gonna treat her any type of way, even though you will probably have to be doing the same type of hunting without her. Still, if you have a bad hunt, listen, you coming back. So now, never, 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 because that's in their evolution. You feel what I'm saying? Never, 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 never become dependent on a man. Now, one might say, oh, well, like I said, oh, listen, I could depend on a man from my 30s, you know what I'm saying, all through them, right? But the thing about it is, when I say is about youth, it's not about your physical appearance. Because I believe black women, we get like 30 is probably like our physical peak, you know what I'm saying? Um, as far as the face go, right? Because we got knowledge and all that kind of stuff like that. Uh when you looking extra good and you young, you not dependent on that man. You dependent on the way that you look. I remember me and Jermaine had gotten into an argument, and I bless him. You know what I'm saying? And so he's like, "Yeah, go ahead, get out." Okay, cool. So I walked. I started walking. Nigga, I didn't make it to the corner before this green truck pulled up, because guess what? They had been watching me all that time, waiting for him to slip up. You know what I'm saying? So that's what these men. And then so when you know that as a woman, that look, I'm not dependent on you. I'm dependent on the way that I look. You going to hold yourself different. He going to treat you different, right? He not going. But listen, when I was staying with Darian, it took like 2 or 3 months for him to say, one day come home and say, yeah, we're not doing ecstasy today, because he knew by that time I was in there. You know what I mean? If he would have came home before that, like, yeah, we ain't doing no ecstasy. Guess what? I see you later, because guess what? You know what I'm saying? But when you got 5 kids, you know what I mean? And you don't got the mind to make that money. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You don't got the mind, rather, to be dependent on somebody. You feel what I'm saying? You don't got the mind to do that. When I say youth, I don't mean like youth. It's not necessarily all the way about the way you look. You feel what I mean? It's about your mind state. Because when you young, you dumb enough to get in a car with a stranger. You feel what I'm saying? When you young, you dumb enough to get high with somebody that you don't even know their real name. They don't even know your real name. You know what I'm saying? When you young, like you know what I'm saying? It's a mind state. Scared money don't make no money. So you being a grown ass woman with 5 kids, what did you think was going to happen when you be dependent on a man? You ain't know. You ain't know. You ain't know. Apparently, though, you said you did know because you got left with the 5 kids. But God bless you, sweetie, because you took somebody over from Africa, so you might have you might have been raised in a type of way that I was, where you had to learn stuff on your own as far as womanly stuff, right? Um, so now you depending on him, right? Only way that I think that'll work is if you have their children, right? Or you might be taking care of their parents, some shit like that, right? You depending on him, he out there getting that money, and he coming home looking at you all like overweight, like what you doing? You know what I'm saying? I bet you ain't waiting at the door to give him a blowjob. You feel what I mean? Like you just kind of like, hey babe, and he looking at you probably with a little bit of disgust, right? And on top of that, you can't get pregnant, and that's a really important thing for him. Come on, like how long you thought that was gonna last? So now what he gonna do? Emotionally, I mean financially abuse you, right? Because why he did that? Because I know he did because you put up a GoFundMe. Just because he left you, you don't got nothing. And not only did he leave you with nothing, he don't even care about leaving. Like you know what I'm saying? And you don't spend all this time being his wife, not being in the workplace. You know what I'm saying? Not having no experience, right? At nothing, right? Not having no education at nothing, right? Because you just gonna be his sidekick, right? And now he just said, okay, peace, right? So I know he was financially abusing you because guess what? If you ain't have no money of your own, like an allowance, like that girl, I remember I was hearing what's that girl? Khloe Kardashian. She said in her prenup or whatever, she said she needed an allowance. That's just straight to her. Do you know how humiliating it is? And I know that's why I'm telling you. Do you know how humiliating it is as a grown ass woman to be standing in front of a man and having him count money out to you like he your child? It was a thing on Snowfall when I mean like you his child. It was a thing on Snowfall when old girl Lou was asking Jerome for some money, and he was like, "How much you need?" And she's like, "Nah, can I just have the keys to the safe or whatever?" And he's like, "Nah, just tell me how much you need." And she's like, "No, you know what I'm saying? That's you. That's crazy." You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. Because it's like I'm doing all this stuff as your wife, right? But yeah, like that's crazy. That's crazy. So for you to have to sit in that, and that's how come your hair started falling off. That's how come you started gaining weight because now you probably can't eat the way that you want to eat, right? So now, listen, girl, mm-mm, mm-mm. Everything ain't witchcraft. Everything ain't witchcraft. And then even if it is witchcraft, huh, sometimes you don't know who the real witch is or warlock. Sometimes you don't know who the real one is. You know what I'm saying? So all I'm saying to you is get off the internet. Go ahead. I mean, you can get on the internet if you want to, if you're getting money off of it. It don't matter. But go ahead on it and get yourself a job, sweetie. That's it. This like and then if you could like make a living off YouTube, then do it, right? But otherwise, go ahead and get a job. Because I never seen the righteous forsaken, nor they see begging for bread. Now but I'm not saying nothing to you because I didn't do a GoFundMe, but when I first got to Louisiana, I did do a video asking people to send me money so I can get an Airbnb. Um, so I'm not saying that's a negative thing, but I called it an offering. But yeah, just go ahead, sweetie. Go ahead, because I've been in a similar situation, and I know that it's like I understand. Like when my grandmom died, I used to wake up and just stare at the wall for hours. It was mind blowing to me. You know what I'm saying? But if it's one thing I wish I could have did back then, after I took like maybe 3 months to like kind of mourn or whatever, and I would have done an intentional 3 month mourning period. So you do that. You do an intentional 3 month mourning period. I'm about to hang up and give you some money on your thing too. Um, but you do an intentional 3 month mourning period, and then after that, sweetie, go ahead on and get a job. Walmart, I heard they paying $15 an hour. I don't know where you live at, but shucks, if they paying that much here, then they paying that everywhere. Cause you know what I'm saying. All right, then, girl. Bye bye.